On episode 128 of He Said, She Said Movie Reviews, we take a look at the movie 1917. Welcome to He Said, She Said Movie Reviews. This is the podcast where a happily married couple with similar but different movie taste take a quick, spoiler-free look at the movies, helping you make the right decision before your next movie. I'm your host, Tim.
And I'm April.
So we went and saw the movie 1917. I give this movie 4.5 stars, and April gives it... Wait, April didn't go to this movie. Well, this is a first. I'm doing it by myself. Okay, I'll tell you all about it right after these two trailers. So the first trailer is for the movie Tenet, and this is the highly anticipated action movie of the summer. It's what everyone's looking forward to. It's an action epic revolving around international espionage, time travel, and evolution. It has a release date of July 17th, 2020, and it stars John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, and Elizabeth Debicki. The second movie is The Assistant. It's a searing look at the day in the life of assistant to an powerful executive. As Jane follows her daily routines, she grows increasingly aware of the insidious abuse that threatens every aspect of her position. This has a release date of January 31st, 2020, and it stars Julia Garner, Matthew Macfadyen, and Makenzie Leigh. Okay, 1917. It has 10 Oscar nominations, and really worth it. It's the story of two young British soldiers during the First World War who are given an impossible mission to deliver a message deep in enemy territory that will stop 1,600 men and one of the soldiers' brothers from walking straight into a deadly trap. This is directed by Sam Mendes, who's known for most of the new James Bond movies, Spectre, Skyfall. He's also did Jarhead, and he's known for American Beauty. He's also one of the writers on this movie, Sam Mendes, and this is his first screenplay. And then Krysty Wilson-Cairns, which is also her first screenplay, but she's done a lot of work on TV, especially with Penny Dreadful. Also, this is based off of a bunch of stories that Sam Mendes' grandfather, who was in World War I, told him about. It's got an interesting cast: Dean Charles Chapman, George MacKay, Daniel Maya, Colin Firth, Pip Carter, Andy Apollo, and Paul Tinto. It has a runtime of 119 minutes, and it's rated R for violence, some disturbing images, and language. Listen, this is just an awesome movie. Even if you're not into war movies, I'm a huge war movie buff, war movie fan, but most war movies are made about World War II. You know, now they're Vietnam and Afghanistan, but most of the movies when I was a kid, it was all about World War II, where Eagles Dare, Ice Station Zero, Bridge Too Far, The Guns of Navarone. You know, all these were World War II movies. Even recently, we had Dunkirk. But this is a good, solid look at World War I. And it was just impressive because Sam Mendes, the director, wanted to do this movie in one take. He didn't want this movie to be edited. So it was all done with one take. There's some things before scene, but apparently the actors rehearsed this movie for 6 months before ever doing anything in front of the camera. And then they went out to where they were going to do this. This was out in the countryside in England, even though it was set in France. And they went out with flags and everything, and they did a run through of the movie and marking everything, where each scene, how the actors would move and everything. And then they built the trenches for this. Because if you know about World War I, it was all about trench warfare. And for this movie, they built over 1.5 miles of trench work, which is just mind-boggling. The cinematography and the visual aspects of this movie, this is what makes this movie so... Well, it's a great story, too, don't get me wrong. And the story about these two men who... One of them's, going to save his brother, and he kind of forces his friend to go along with him. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Anyways, the story's really good, but, it has a theme. The theme is about the horrors of war, and especially the horrors of World War I, where you had trench warfare, where these men lived in trenches that were 20 yards away from the enemy. And, they would go back and forth, and they'd lose trenches and lose a lot of men. And it's just spectacular. The acting in this movie, wow. I mean, the fact that the movie was done in one shot, the actors, and he did that so he could get the actors in their reaction to what was happening and going on around them. It was really cool, and they did a really good job. There's some really good cameos in this movie. Colin Firth and Cumberbatch. God, my mind's blank. I can't remember his name, but he was in it for a few movies. The score really added to the movie. I mean, direction, hats off to Sam Mendes. If he doesn't win Best Director this year for this picture, well, never mind. He's going to win it. Like I already said, the cinematography, you were in the trenches of World War I. It was just mind-boggling. And what was really cool, this movie I'm sure there was some CGI, but there wasn't a lot. I mean, they built the trenches. This wasn't done in green screen. So it was really cool. So the production design, once again, they made the trenches, 1.5 miles of trenches. Yeah, cool. Hey, special effects. Stuff was blowing up all over the place. It was war. People were dying. And there was even some scenes with biplanes, which was really cool. I can't say enough. This is a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, it's still in the theaters for the Oscar race. You got to go see this before February 9th. It's really good. There was, because of the one-shot aspect of filming this movie, there's very little editing. The cameras, when you had the two characters talking, the camera made sure that both men were in the picture, and it would circle them at times. It was a beautifully shot movie. The pace, this is one of my only gripes. It dragged at times a little bit, but it was just shy of 2 hours. It was really good. The pace, yeah, like I said, it dragged a little. Dialogue, nothing special here, but it was kind of, you can't call this a buddy flick, even though these two were obviously friends who'd come together through the trials of war and supported each other and had each other's back. It was a really good movie. I think, April couldn't go because she had an event she had to go to that night. And I think April would have come away from this giving this movie at least 4 stars too. I think she would have enjoyed it. And she's not a big war movie fan like I am. So I think, take your girlfriend, your wife, your significant other. I think they'll enjoy this movie just as much as you will, or I did. So thanks a lot for listening. Really appreciate it. I'm sure April will be back when we review Bad Boys for Life. Thanks a lot. We'll see you at the movies.